All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to whatever this is. I got the I got the trailer update. I don't know how much of this I talked about last week. I don't remember, but basically, I finished I finished roughing in the rear decking, or a lot of it. I did like if you see here, this is the frame C notch thing, the top of it, and I made the frame notch, and I made these tabs and welded them on, and basically that's what the rear deck boards are going to mount to. So the holes will go through there, and they'll just sit on top of that like that. And so here's the other side, just the same, only reversed. And then I bolted the deck boards to it, which I still need to get more bolts too. So today I'm gonna go to Lowe's and I'll get bolts because I didn't buy enough carriage bolts to bolt all these down. And then basically you can see there's this like gap, right here where the frame has to come up for the axle to go into the frame. It created this gap, which is actually a good thing for me, because I don't know, since I don't have my e-bikes, I don't know how they're going to mount. And so in the meantime, we're going to use this trailer with just our regular bikes. And I have a bike rack for those that go into a receiver hitch. So I was thinking about like welding something in here, but I really didn't want to weld a receiver hitch on top of this bumper, because you know what, that looks to me like it could be a good step, maybe even a good bench if I need a bench. Like, it'd be nice to not have just a random thing right there. So I came up with the idea to put it right in that hole. And so basically for now, the bike rack is just gonna poke outside of that hole. Let me get to the new pictures, and then what I ended up doing was priming it with some metal primer. That's what this is here. It's like, so it's a red color. So I took all the suspension back off, all the airbags and swing arms and everything, and primed it. I actually primed the whole trailer, the box and everything, and then I started lifting the box, and it just really, it works, but it's really janky, and I'm not liking it. So we kind of, came up with, I had this idea of, I don't know how much I talked about this but I had this idea of putting an airbag on the front of the trailer, so that when I dumped the rear two airbags, I could also dump a front airbag, and the whole thing would drop at once, rather than me having to go to the front and like crank a tongue jack down or something. It's not like, this isn't a big deal. None of this stuff is necessary. It's like just for the fun of it, right? At this point, I'm just like in cartoon land, and fulfilling some like 90s kid dream of building lowriders or something. But obviously I'm not going to build a lowrider. I like four-wheel drive stuff. My stuff usually needs to go up, not down, right? So, but in this situation, it does need to go down, so that I don't have to have a step. I can get into it easier, or my kids can, or whatever, without having to step up this, 1.5 foot tall trailer. So basically, what I ended up finding on Amazon was this. This is just an air cylinder, okay? Now, what I did is I went to the trailer store, and I bought this foot it's just a replacement foot for a tongue jack or something. And so that goes in there. And then I went ahead and I built this bracket here, it just mounts to this air cylinder. And I bought a swivel. I don't think I have a picture of it, but I bought a swivel that will weld in to basically to there, right? So when I dump the rear airbags, I will dump this front airbag or this front cylinder, and the whole trailer will drop to drop height on its own. And eventually, I don't know when this will happen, but I talked about this. I wanted to have it on a key fob. So I'll just be able to hit a key fob. That will probably that goes to a relay, and that relay will probably go to an Arduino. It might just go to a valve or a couple of valves that are going to be plumbed in a specific way to dump everything. But I think I might need to do an Arduino, because then I can use the same button to dump the trailer as I do to lift the trailer. And basically the Arduino will either have a sensor so it will know when the bags are dumped, or it will know when the bags are inflated. And depending on which, if the bags are inflated, I hit the button, it will know to dump the bags. And the reason that I'm thinking about doing it that way is that it can basically close and open valves when they're not in use. So like a normally open valve will not be energized when it's open, right? But a normally closed valve will not be energized when it's closed. So I don't want to have these valves energized all weekend, is what I'm thinking. And so what I'm thinking is, if I add another valve in that's normally closed, I don't know. They're going to have to be all energized at some point, I guess. But I wish that I had a valve that I could get that would just change states. So instead of having normally open or normally closed, it would just open and then turn itself off, and then close and turn itself off. So it wasn't just constantly energized. I don't know. I need to look at that. So I might need an Arduino to control it all. I might not. I might just use the relays and call it good. But it would at least give me the one button use, because what we decided to do was basically we could build air rams. This is what we were going to try to do, is build air rams for the box. But then because this air ram only has 9 inches of stroke, this air cylinder right here. And so, we were talking about like getting a pipe and 3D printing, basically like a puck or a cylinder. Like I could 3D print a cylinder out of TPU, and it would probably work. And then we could make the cylinder as long as we wanted, right? If we just get some pipe. Well, what I came up with instead was I already have a gas strut system inside the top of the box. I don't know why I never sneeze, and then as soon as I start podcasting, I just have to sneeze everywhere. Anyways, so I just got to looking at it, and since I painted the box, back to what I was saying, I primered it. The box going up and down, it's not working. It's scraping the primer off as I go up and down in places where it's just really, I just really don't like it. It needs a redesign, so that's what I'm doing. So what I did is I bought 2 more of these, and I basically used this one and I put it in a place where it would use the existing lever system. This lever system that I have inside of here was only, it was just like a lift assist, and I have all these like gas struts on it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I think I have the picture on my Instagram. Probably. I mean, I've been taking pictures and putting it on my Instagram as I've been building this thing, which is just really confusing a lot of people, because they're just like, what is that? And anyway, so I don't know if I thought I did, but I don't see it now. It doesn't look like I did that part of the build. But anyways, so there's a lever that's already there. And I found a place on the lever that this gas strut would be able to lift the box. Here's somewhat of a picture. I don't know how how easy this is actually going to be to see. Let's see here. Yeah. So basically, that in there, that thing right in the middle is a lever. The fulcrum's like right above my head. So you can kind of see the bolt there, and then it pushes on that bar all the way across to up, and this gas strut. Well, the gas strut that's kind of in the back there, I guess. I'm taking that out and replacing it with this deal, with this air cylinder here. And basically, what it's going to do is, it's just going to push up on that lever, and there's one on the other side too that's the exact opposite, equal and opposite. Because what I have right now is just I have a crank on one side of the box, and it's just a winch, and it just pulls up on the box, and it does work, but it lifts the box unevenly. Okay, so it's all tilted to one side. And then what I was going to do is, once I get it to the top, I was going to put pins in it and then lower the back down. So, it lifts crooked like this, or whatever, like this. Then you pin this side, and then you lower the back down so it stays, and then it gets even again. That would be fine, and it does work. And I do have a bearing system, but the bearing system didn't work that well. Just simply because I wasn't lifting the box evenly ever. And so I'm going to try to fix it to where I lift it evenly. And like the problem with lifting it evenly is I need a cylinder that's long enough, or I have to use some sort of lever system. And maybe what I just need to do is just redesign the whole thing, which we talked about doing, and I might still do. Me and my brother had, he was talking about changing the fulcrum on the lever, which I could do, and then I could actually pull. I could pull on the bar instead of pushing on it, which might, it would actually probably be a better system altogether. And there would be less, less stuff in there. Because all that stuff is now inside the bathroom, right? But I'm trying to keep the outside of it clean. So I didn't want the gas struts on the outside. And there is room in there. It's fairly wide, so. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to work on today. And what I did was I built these... I built extenders. I don't know, they're kind of like legs or something like that to hold that ram up. But I didn't take any pictures of them. But the way that we did it doesn't really, it holds the ram, and I think it would work, but it doesn't keep the ram from moving side to side. And that's what I need. So I'm going to go buy some pipe today, or some sort of bushing that will fit inside of there, and then I'll get some bolts too, and that will keep the ram from moving side to side, and it will only let it swivel one way and not the other way. And that way, because it has to swivel as it goes up. It's really hard to explain, but basically the point that it pushes on the lever moves. It moves laterally. And so if there's no way for it to swivel, this won't work. And this may not work. I don't know. It still may not lift it evenly. I have all of that stuff measured out and in the same place relative to the other stuff. But it still is it's not on two corners, but it is on two sides. So, and it can lift it a little bit unevenly, but it just can't lift it a lot unevenly. The other thing I'm going to do is the bearing system that we made didn't work the first time, but I'm going to try that again. So I'm going to reprint the bearing system and put these two air shocks on, or air rams, and use that, and I think it will be better. Maybe it will be good enough. So if I had to redo this, what would I do? I would design the lift system in CAD and 3D print it, and then like I did with the suspension system, and then basically do that. And I would look for um, a 4-point lifting system on the box, and not try to get away with a 1-point lift system, or the conception of this idea. I was thinking the gas struts would just be enough, and maybe they would if I bought 2 more heavier duty gas struts, because right now I have 200 pounders and 260 pounders. So I'm essentially lifting 320 pounds, and the box is almost buoyant. It's basically, I'm probably about 50 pounds short. So the box probably weighs around 400 pounds, the top box. Because I can lift the box. When the struts are in there and on, I can lift one side fairly easily. Okay, so, and I'm not really that strong. I'm not like a super strong dude or anything. So, I do work out, but I just started that this year. So, the only muscles I have is what I get from work, so I'm probably about 50 pounds from being like neutrally buoyant on the gas struts. And so, but what my thought was when I started this is that we would just be able to lift it and the gas struts would do their thing. And that didn't work. So basically the top box just became, it was too heavy. When I built the frame, obviously we could lift it. But then once I skinned it, it just became too heavy. And, that's just the nature of the beast. When you're doing stuff that nobody else has done, you don't have anything to go off of, right? And the other thing too is that there's basically 2 methods to approach this stuff. Method number 1 that I see is to plan like hell and just write everything down, plan it down to the exact inch, to the centimeter, to the millimeter, everything gets planned. And then what you do is you just have a parts list, essentially. You go make your parts and build it, right? So if you do that, you might be able to use CAD software and other things, print 3D models like I did with the suspension, and you can measure real life things and, see what it is. So that's what I did with the suspension, and that worked out really well, actually. And that's the first time I've ever done that with a build or with anything. And, a lot of times I've done napkin drawings, like that's something, but actually drawing it on the computer, being able to 3D print a scale model, this is the first time I've done that, and it did teach me a lot. It taught me where the axle was going to go before I had to actually cut the frame, right? So if I did it again, I would do that, but I didn't do that. The other method that I know of is to just go. Don't write it down. You have it in your head. You measure as you go, and you just go. Okay? You run into a problem, you stop. You fix that problem, and then you go. Okay, this is what I've been doing on this whole trailer. This is the method that I've used. It is what it is. That's what it is. Here's a picture of what I ended up with on the. So basically, I got this little it's not a hitch receiver. Okay, so you're not towing a trailer with this thing. I mean, you probably could, but it doesn't have the little ring around this thing. What this is an insert for a 2.5-inch receiver that come on new trucks to size it down to a 2-inch receiver that are on all the old trucks. Okay, so these are expensive if you buy them at the trailer store, and they're $14 at Walmart, and it's just steel in that shape. I mean, I don't know. Mine's going to be holding a bike rack, so I don't need it to be whatever. I don't even need it to be super duper, Like it could not even be as strong as that and it would still work. So that's what I came up with, was putting it there. Yeah. So, anyways, so what I was talking about before, here's another picture of it. Is, so the lift system wasn't working. So what I did is I got these bars, like a 12-inch bar that's going to go below it, and I went ahead and welded some tabs on it, and put the cylinder on the tabs, and that just isn't going to work. There's too much movement one way that on the ram. So I'll go get some pipe or some bushings, something to take up that slack, and then I'll re-weld those extensions, and then I'll put some support structure for them to sit on the floor of the bathroom, and then I'll basically put those rams in and reinstall all that lever stuff. I took it apart Thursday, and then I was kind of looking at it yesterday, but it just wasn't gonna work. And what I'll do is I'll weld all that together today as I get time, and basically try to plumb it up to some sort of air supply and then send it up. Now, the one issue that I ran into with these air cylinders is that they come with 3/8 hose and 3/8 NPT holes or fittings. They do actually come with the fittings, but it wants a 3/8 hose, air hose supply. So, but all my other stuff is 1/4-inch hose, and like a lot of, everything that I'm doing is going to be it's going to be 1/4-inch to the airbags, right? And I tested that and it was fine. I don't need 3/8. I mean, these air cylinders are designed to lift 700 pounds each, approximately. So this is what I ended up with back here. So the deck boards will go over this, and this does help too. It ties that bar in there so it can't flex a little bit, but I painted the back of all this gray. This is the gray that the trailer is going to be. But, I just need to get the mount system for those cylinders in. And I basically just, once I have that lift system happening again, then it's going to be paint the rest of it, finish building the tongue jack, and then it's going to be final install. Install the flooring in the bathroom. And then basically the all the air suspension stuff, all the air tank, the air compressor, which I do have mounts welded on for. I don't know if I talked about that on here, but that's all fabbed up and like ready to go. It just needs to be painted and, finish paint, and then the lift system on the box. And so basically what I'm going to end up with here, one way or another, is that I'm going to be able to have a key fob, and I'm going to push a button. I'm going to push one button, and it's going to dump the bags, and the whole trailer is going to drop to the ground. Then I'm going to push another button, and the bathroom is going to lift. And then I'm just going to put some pins in, some safety pins into the bathroom, so that if if anything gives out in there, that it's not going to fall on somebody's head. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be safe. So the box needs to be pinned in so that it stays up on the bathroom. So if you're in there, because if it's 400 pounds, that's not going to work. And then all I'm going to have to do is just put the bottom door on, So what is left? I need to design and fab up the, like I said, today I'm going to get the air cylinder system working. Okay. Then it's going to be plumbing, electrical, right? I still need to buy lights. And I was thinking about that yesterday. I probably should have done this before I painted, because originally I was thinking about putting in the 4-inch round lights into the rear bumper, the flush mount. So since I painted it already, I'll probably just buy the cheap LED square lights that you just bolt to the thing. Basically the ones I took off it, but you guys haven't seen that, or nobody's seen that, because I have edited that video. I just haven't put it up yet. But so I'll just do that. I'll just do what will work instead of, trying to make it too flashy or whatever. Like, it probably would be nicer to have those flush mounted lights, because where these other lights will go on the back bumper or whatever, they basically, there's already holes for them because it's what I took off. It's like those holes right there. I don't know if you can see that right in the middle. There's 3 holes in a triangle pattern. That's where the lights were, which is not bad. I don't think I'm going to be stepping there, because like basically this is going to go on the ground. I'm going to step right here, right? I'm going to step right in the middle of this and get up on the decking to do whatever I'm going to do. So if I have a light there and then over here, a light over here, it's protected. It's up above that bumper and everything. It should be fine. And I guess I could put like some sort of bracketing over it if I really was worried about it, but I don't think it'll matter. So I'll just do that. And then I'll just buy, there's like a $30 set on Amazon that I've used before that are LED. And they're bright and they're good. Like on my appliance trailer, I replaced them with those because I was having grounding issues. And what that ended up being was that the thing's a tilt deck, right? And the tilt part of it is where the lights would ground through. And basically, I just never used the tilt deck part of it. I thought I would, and so that's the type of trailer I got, and it kind of rusted, and it would stop making connection. So, I needed to use it more to wear it out so it would make connection, but I never did. So what I did is I just took a wire and self-tapped a wire from the tilt part to the frame so that it would actually ground. I had it ground from my truck to the trailer, but it just went from the truck to the trailer plug, then right there to the bottom frame, and there was no wired connection from the top to the bottom. So anyways, so my list is final installation on all the stuff. I still need to buy a battery. I have the solar panel and the charge controller. I still need to buy some, valves and that sort of thing, but that's going to come with plumbing. So basically the hardest thing that I have left to do, because all that wiring and plumbing really shouldn't be that big a deal. The hardest thing that I have left to do is building the lift system. Because after that, it's paint, final install on the floor, the toilet, the battery, the charge controller, the inverter. I'm going to put the inverter in the bathroom at one of the inverters that I have. The truck's going to get its own inverter system. The truck will have its own batteries. The truck's probably going to have its own solar panels too. It's all going to have its own 2 totally separate systems. And basically that way, I can move the truck away from the trailer and I'll still be able to have multiple systems, backup systems that can power the other one. If one of them goes down or breaks or whatever, redundancy is great. So, and then I still need to work on a mount for the jack, some sort of toolbox. I'm probably just going to buy one and bolt it to the back deck. Just a little toolbox I can put tools in, different things. And then, once all that's done, wheels and tires, which I'm just going to buy. I'm just going to go, buy a new set of wheels and tires and just not use that set. At that point, I might get new seals and bearings and rebuild all of that. New lug nuts or bolts or whatever they are. They're like bolts on this. I don't know exactly how that works yet because I still need to tear it apart, but which I probably should have done at the beginning, but I didn't. And that's basically it. It's like, then I need to go test it. I started putting the suspension back together. The problem is that the little U-bolts, the brackets that I built for the U-bolts I'm needing to paint. So I will paint those today too. But it's, it's basically get the lift system figured out and then paint it all and then, start assembling the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to make my goal again. So basically my goal was to have it done and out of the garage by May. So out of the garage into its storage position, which I could do once it's painted. I mean, technically it's painted enough right now that it could leave the garage. But I think once it's painted, it can go out and the Suburban can come in. And then while I'm waiting for Suburban parts, if I need any, I mean, if that's how it goes, because basically the Suburban's going to come in and it's going to get, I'm going to take the wheels and tires off, and it's going to get the fuel pump, obviously, but then it's going to get control arms. The control arms and the frame are going to get painted. The exhaust is going to get dealt with. All the oil leaks are going to get dealt with. The coolant leak, obviously, but then it's going to get a power system inside the truck. So either 3D printed or however I'm going to do this. I want to have 110 plugs, not 110. I want AC voltage to the rear two back seats. So my kids can plug their switches in right there. They will bring their own charger and their own switch, and they will have their own plug that's wired in either to the back of the front seat or into the door or something like that, where they'll have access to their own USB and their own 110 volt power. Because right now we have this like inverter that it has to plug into the front of the truck, and then there's a wire that goes all the way to the middle seat, that they use or whatever, and it's just like kind of a mess. I want to clean all this stuff up, so we're cleaning everything up. So we already have pouches on the back of the seats, right? What we should be able to do, and like we rented this minivan when we went to California, and it had a USB plug right there in the back of the seat. So when I needed to charge my phone, I just plug it into the back of the seat, and it's like super convenient. There's a pouch there, So that's what I want in this thing for that. So, and then, the other stuff that I'm going to do, the low range 2x4, right? So I can put it in 2-wheel drive and just rear wheel drive low range. There's an actuator on the front axle that I'm going to wire up to a switch. So I'm going to be able to turn it off myself. And then I need to wire up the air compressor in the truck to its own switch. Because right now it's ganged up on the switch that controls the transmission cooler fan. So I want it on its own. I'm going to need an AC switch because I blew up the AC computer, the air conditioning computer, so it no longer turns on the the compressor for the air conditioner. So all that stuff's got to get done. It's got to get paint. There's a couple more stickers that I need. I'm gonna put this big old freaking, like as big as I can vinyl cut and make it look good. I'm gonna put a big old sticker of a phoenix on the hood of the Suburban. There's a couple little rust spots that are appearing on the doors and stuff that I'm going to address. I'm probably just gonna get some white paint and just kind of paint them white. Just not really. I'm not really gonna like fix the problem. I'm just gonna put some paint on it. It's gonna be all right. The top of the Suburban, same thing. There's this part where all of the white paint has come off and it just has primer showing, basically. So I'm gonna just paint that with some sort of white paint or put a sticker on it. Just kind of make the whole thing look better. I might paint the fender flares so that they're kind of refreshed all that kind of stuff. And basically, I'll just go through mechanical first, get the frame painted, work my way from the bottom up. Because obviously the stuff in the cab, the switches and that kind of stuff can wait, and it is probably going to have to. So that'll be like a this summer type thing. As I get time, I'll just go through and start adding that stuff in, adding in the inverter and all that other stuff, right? There's no point in even killing these guys. So hopefully all that makes sense. But yeah, so I need to get the trailer done. I'm planning on going camping in May. Now that doesn't mean that I'm going to take this trailer, but I might not though. I might just still take the other trailer. Because in May it'll be a vacation trip, not a so it'll be a long trip. It might be longer than a weekend. It might only be a weekend. I don't know. We haven't really fully decided yet what we're doing, but basically, it might be like 4 days. And if it's 4 days, then we might not want to try this system out yet. But it's kind of why I wanted to have it done before April, to go try it out. But it just, didn't happen. I don't think this is going to be enough XP to level me up.
Here's your reward. Choke on it.
Yeah, I didn't move the needle hardly at all. And none of the other ones are, I got like half a bar down there. None of the other ones are very good either. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do here. See, that one gave me 9,000 XP. Yeah, look at how many XPs I need. I need like 50,000. Or, yeah, 30,000, 33,000. So, I don't know. Maybe I just need to go fight those guys forever. Just stop playing this game and go play something else. But yeah, it's basically, I keep adding complexity to this trailer, which none of this, it wasn't supposed to be any of this. It was just supposed to be, this thing started as a 2x4 idea. Like, I was just going to put some 2x4s together and build this sort of bathroom on skids that I would just like drag up onto the trailer or lift up onto the trailer and go camping. And it was just, plywood and 2x4s. Well, that didn't really work. It could have worked, but then what I decided was I need to stop like doing things halfway. So then I decided that I needed to, I'm gonna build this trailer. Like, I saw this camp trailer online for like $1,200. Okay, and now a camp trailer, right? What is that? Or overlanding trailer. Well, this is what it was. It was this little trailer, one axle, like, five lug axle, so probably like 2,000 pounds. And all it was just a like basically angle iron frame and some like custom built angle iron and expanded metal. So expanded metal for like the decking, and then angle iron, and then like some custom built cages out of angle iron and expanded metal. Like one that was the perfect size to put your cooler in, right? And it's like they're selling it as an overlanding trailer. It's just like a little trailer you tow behind your Jeep. When you want to go Jeeping, I imagine Jeep people have this problem. If you had a family of 4 and a Jeep, how do you get all your camping gear in your Jeep to go Jeeping? I don't know. That just seems like a lot of stuff to put into a Jeep. I don't know. I've never had a Jeep, so you're sleeping in a tent. Well, like what I could offer, I saw that and it gave me the idea. I'm like, well, I could just get a little trailer off of KSL for cheap, and then weld a bathroom to the front of it. And kind of my thought process was the same thing with four wheelers. Was I could sleep in the truck, and I did that for years and years before I had kids. And basically, we liked that type of camping, was sleeping in the truck, right? Then we had kids, and it was like, well, this is going to be hard, so let's get a trailer. So, we built up until we got a trailer. Well, now my kids are older enough and resilient enough that they aren't babies anymore, so they don't really need a house while we're there. So I'm like, well, let's try to go back to sleeping in the truck. We had a lot more fun when we slept in the truck. There was a lot less stuff to deal with and to do to go camping. It was minimalized, So the problem with that is there's no bathroom. So, which it isn't a problem for me, but, the women and children, they have bigger issues than I do, right, with their bathroom situation. So I'm like, well, the only thing that I can't put in a truck, in an SUV, in a Suburban, and make it comfortable is a bathroom, right? Like, I can put one in there, but it's not going to be comfortable. So I'm like, well, and I need a trailer anyways to haul four-wheelers. So that was the concept. If I put a bathroom on skids, if I just built a building with a bathroom in it, and it's on skids, I could bolt it or mount it or ratchet strap it down to any trailer. So that's what I did. We built this thing, and we strapped it to my trailer and tried to go camping. Well, I was trying to keep it as light as possible, so that we could just lift it onto the trailer. Two people could just lift it. So we did 2x4s. I bought this black tank that's in this trailer and this toilet that's going in this trailer, and we 2x4'd up a frame. I bought some like corrugated roofing material and made a roof. And I should have just made the walls out of that too, and then just winched it up onto the trailer if it was too heavy at that point. But basically I didn't. And I made the walls out of this plastic. I screwed the plastic to the 2x4s, and I was thinking, well, it's not fiberglass plastic, but it is plastic. It's not like, yeah. I mean, I didn't know if it would work or not, and it didn't. Basically, we went on the freeway or the highway, started doing like 50 miles an hour. The air was too much, and it pushed the walls in. So the screws didn't hold the plastic. The plastic just went through the screws. And maybe if I would have used washers or something, or, I could have made that work, okay? But what I decided was, so we went home, left the bathroom at home, and went camping anyways. And what I decided was, to go camping, what I need to do is everything needs to be a lot better than it is. All of my gear needs to be a lot better. So I went to the further end, and I was like, well, steel is going to be a lot stronger, right? So that's where this thing came from. I'm like, well, I'll just build it all out of steel. So I went and got this trailer. I saw that $1,200 trailer, and I'm like, man, I could build those, like I could build these things and sell them. And it's still an idea. It's still an option that we might do. My dad, he's expressed interest in having some sort of welding business, which this could be that. I could probably even just buy the materials and go shove them out there and just be like, well, here's the plans, here's the materials, if you get bored. And then just when we sell the trailer, give him some sort of cut of what we make, Like if I'm buying the materials and the trailer, and then he's doing the work, like we're coming together and we're both making money, right? You know what I mean? So what I would need to do is price out insurance, liability insurance, and what I would need for that. I know there's an account I follow on Instagram of this dude who just rents out trailers. He just rents them. Like he just buys these trailers, and he has, he started with one. He needed a trailer. This was his coming to fruition. He needed a trailer, but he didn't need it. Like, he needed it for like once a year. So he bought it, and he's like, well, the rest of the year I'm just going to rent it out. And he started renting it out, and it eventually paid for itself, right? So he bought another one. I think he's up to like 15 trailers now, that he just rents out. And he quit his job. It's like he just rents out trailers. People, it's good. So we could do that. We could build them and sell them, because I feel like there is a need for this. If you're, back to what I was talking about, if you're a Jeeper, it's like you're going to be, you could use a trailer like this. You could put a rooftop tent on a trailer, and you wouldn't have to put it on your Jeep. And then the deal with that is you drag this trailer down. It has your cooler on it or your fridge. Maybe it has solar panels to power your fridge, a battery, a rooftop tent, and you just find a place to camp, and you leave your trailer there. And then when you go wheeling in your Jeep, you don't need to drag all that weight with you. So now you're light, and sometimes in four-wheeling being light is good, and then also you have room in your Jeep for four-wheeling, you know what I mean? So anyways, that's where this idea came from. And it's had some challenges, and it's taken a while to build. And I don't know, with this idea, I'm not holding anything back, right? So, it's kind of like, what would I hold back if I was going to sell the thing for a profit? Well, I wouldn't be able to do all of the welding and grinding that I did on it. I would need to come up with some other solution for sealing the corners, because there was a lot of effort that went into sealing the corners, into welding them, and then grinding off the welds, and it didn't really turn out that well. So the steel is still kind of wavy, which there are things that I could do to fix that too. But I think the sides of the room would need, basically I just wouldn't do this. I would do something different. What if we go do this? Like, what is this? Maybe we could do this area and level up better. So, but if I was doing angle iron, basically an angle iron frame and expanded metal, I think I could make that work. It wouldn't be that much labor or effort to basically to put the thing together. We could give people custom mounts. If somebody wanted a custom trailer that would mount to their rooftop tent that they already have, or one that they want to buy, we could put custom mounts on it to mount, up whatever their specific things that they want. They don't want a rooftop tent, but they want other things. It's like whatever they wanted, their specific little, guy we could do. So, I don't know. Maybe they, need different things than other people. But, I don't know. That's kind of, I'm thinking the appliance thing, like I might just go do that just to make money, to do something else. Just to make money, to pile up a whole bunch of money so that I can use that money to go start a business that I would actually be passionate about, which welding I would be. I really like welding. I really like building, solving these problems, coming up with ways to solve them. It's not always easy, but it's a lot more enjoyable than fixing people's machines. And the problem with fixing people's machines is I don't have any control over how good this thing is going to be. So like recently I did a bearing for a family member. Okay. Now this wasn't for the business. This was just a favor. Like I like to help people out if I can. So they needed this thing, And I went over and I had new bearings for this dryer, right? So I took it apart and it only had one bad bearing. Now it has 6 bearings in it, and this is the first one I've ever seen with 6. I've always seen them with 4, right? So I brought 4 new ones over there, and I was prepared to replace them all. But there was only one bad one. It was for a family member. I was like, if the other ones go bad, then I'll just come back over here and fix those too. No big deal, right? So I text the family, they weren't there, and I basically replaced the bad bearing and put it back together, and it's good, right? Well, a month later or 2 months later, he texts me and he's like, it's squeaking again. I'm like, okay, well, he's like, maybe the bearing you put in there is already bad, and I'm like, no, it's probably another one, because I only replaced the one. And I told him then I only replaced the one, and I'm like, he's like, okay, well, can I just buy all new bearings? And I'm like, yeah, do that. So he bought the parts, and but then I went in and put on new bearings. The point is that even if in that type of business and mechanics, any mechanical repair business, you're going to run into this. You will go fix a problem, and then another problem will happen. And like the problem that I have with it is that in his mind, he's sitting there thinking he didn't, I wasn't trying to get a payment for this, so it wasn't like a regular customer interaction. But even if it was, they'd be like, well, did he actually fix it? Did he lie? It's very hard to build that trust. And obviously I went back over there and fixed it again, and now as far as I know, it's working great, right? And then now it has all new bearings, so should be good for a while. But I have no control over those bearings. I have no control over those parts. I didn't build those parts. I didn't use the best materials. I have no control over any of that. I called my supplier in town rather than getting the bearings off of Amazon, which is what I've always done. Never had an issue, but and asked them if they had the bearings, and they don't even sell them. So, and this is a well-known dryer brand. I'm like, why don't you sell them? And he's like, oh, we just don't do that brand. And I'm like, okay, well, here's another problem. Is that if I open my business to go do house calls, I was planning on using that supplier. Well, they don't even do that brand, and that was a big part of my business, was that brand, because their bearings suck. So now I've got aftermarket bearings in it off of Amazon, which might also suck and might quit in another 5 months. You know what I mean? Whereas with steel, if I'm building steel trailers, it's steel. You know what I mean? It's like hard. There are certain things that it will succumb to, like rust. Okay, but if I do a good job of painting and primering, and which what I would do is I would do it a lot better than it. What the hell is this? That was weird. Destroy the mysterious iridium crystals. Huh. Anyways, so, if I do a good enough job of primering, and what I would do is basically I would just use a airless sprayer. Okay, and that's what I didn't do that on this one. It's mine. I don't care if there's paint runs in it or whatever. I just need the thing to work. I'm not doing a full finished job on this on my trailer. It's like, it is what it is. If it flakes off or doesn't work well, I'll just simply fix it. I'll repaint it. I'll touch it up. It's going to be right here. But if I was doing this on a customer's trailer, I would spend a lot more time making sure it was finished correctly. I would use a sprayer. It would just be a lot better. But, and I know that that's like not the right way to do things either. You have the idea. You really should, you should take care. You should just do everything well, and but I am. It's going all right. Basically, though, I don't really care about the finish so much. If it looks good from like 30 feet, then I'm good with it. So that's what I'm doing. But But so what I have I already have a sprayer, and I might spray the box just because I just hate painting. And this way I'll just be able to, spray all the little nooks and crannies. And I basically painted the rear frame with a brush. I might paint the front frame with the brush too and not spray it, but because to spray it I'm going to have to set up like a whole like kind of paint booth thing. And if we were doing this, a lot of times a year, I think we would come up with, some jigs so that the frame and that would be easy to weld together. We would come up with a design that would be repeatable. Like, yeah, it would be customizable, but at the same time we would, have plans, and it would be easy to cut and weld together and stuff. Like, I know that there are people out there that have made these trailers, overlanding trailers or quote unquote off-road trailers, but I don't know if they're making money. I don't know. You look at your like regular trailer suppliers, and they're pretty much just kind of frame and wood a lot of times. It seems like, Lowe's. Go to Lowe's, the trailers that are there are that stuff, would not be hard to build. It'd be basically that type of frame I could probably put together in a couple days, maybe a day. If I really did it a lot and had it down to a system, I mean, you're just cutting your angle iron and putting them across. And that's the thing too, is that if we did it the way that I did this, if we were out buying used trailers, steel is steel. It's like, you wouldn't sell it as, the selling point wouldn't be that it's a new trailer. It would be that it's a camp trailer, at least at first. But I mean, you could eventually get a jig together and I guess buy the C channel and cut it, and there's just not that much to a trailer. If you had a straight jig that you could weld your suspension on and you were getting the stuff new, and you put your axle in the jig and everything, and then put your frame in the jig, cut the C channel and bend it, it's like this stuff would not be that hard, I guess. There still is this thing, mission available. Yeah, I mean, it's just work. You just weld it together and then you got yourself a trailer. And I don't know, if we don't put the niche on it to have it be an off-road trailer, I don't know if it would be profitable. I don't know if you could compete with like a Lowe's trailer. The thing is that it would be higher quality than like a Lowe's trailer, I would think, because I would think that you would be getting, thicker steel, but maybe not. I don't know. And I don't know what if any legality there is there. I'm sure that there's some licensing you have to get. at least to build them from scratch, just because our country is out of control with its bureaucracy, and we're no longer in a free state, which is a whole nother issue. Because like I don't have any issues with my welds. Like, I don't think they're gonna break. I don't think that this is going to be a problem, right? And I'm gonna check that stuff. I'm gonna test this thing before I go use it. That's another thing, is that I'm gonna hook it up to my truck and I'm gonna tow it to work every day, and I'm gonna look at the welds every day, and like I'm gonna go drive the thing around a lot to make sure, especially since I redid the whole suspension. It's like I gotta check and make sure that. Got to check and make sure all that stuff is good, and not gonna break. But there's people out there that would just be like, "Well, you can't do that." I'm like, well, why? Explain to me why I can't do that. I don't know. People have told me I can't do a lot of things that I've done over the years, and sometimes they're like, "Well, it's illegal," and I'm like, well, should it be illegal or legal? At some point you have to ask yourself, like, who is your God? Is the government your God? You know what I mean? Now, like, for something like speeding, obviously it's just, if you're speeding, you get a ticket, you pay your ticket. You're out there in danger, possibly endangering people because you're speeding. Like somebody has done some amount of math, or supposedly on what the speed limit should be, right? Like if you're speeding through a school zone, there's an obvious safety risk there. A kid runs out in the road. There's a lot of kids around, and they're kind of meant to be crossing the road right there, and you're speeding through there, and then you hit a kid. You know what I mean? Well, it's a good idea to go slow in those zones. And like, I'm a professional driver. A lot of times I don't go 20, which is what the speed limit. A lot of times I'm going 15 or 10, and that's what I'm doing. So it's not about the law or the government becoming my God. It's about what's the best thing to do here, right? And sometimes the best thing to do is to break the law, right? When your government becomes tyrannical and when it oversteps its bounds, what boundaries should be there that are no longer there because we're in La La Land now, like, it's amazing how many people like fight for this stuff. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Really, it's like, even in the, like, you could think about car safety inspections. Okay, so vehicle space safety inspections, we used to have them here, and now we don't. Let's go to this and see. I don't know where to go to level up. I should have gone and got this mission when I was at a lower level somehow. I don't even know how I would have done that, but
hello, Sanctuary. Guess who's back from hunting vaults on other planets? Did you miss us?
And I'm the nerd? I mean, what's the deal here, you guys? First Lilith is like, hunt the vault on Epta. And then she's like, don't kill the other vault hunters. Bring back the one chick you found. War is coming.
Ooh, you brought back a new vault hunting buddy?
No, you don't. Aurelia is the meanest. What's all this about Athena and some guardian and war?
I'm Athena. I was relating to present company the story of how Jack rose to power.
I don't know where this place is. I've never been here before, I guess. Anyways, vehicle safety inspections don't do shit for vehicle safety. People think they do. I don't know. There's been There's been states that haven't had vehicle safety inspections, and it's not like they have a whole bunch of more vehicle safety accidents. You know, like it's just not the way it is. And we used to have them here, and now we don't. Okay, so the biggest thing, the only thing that I've noticed the change in is since they took away the inspections, a lot more people drive around without tail lights now. Okay, which I mean, you know, maybe it's a problem. It doesn't seem to be. I see people all the time driving around without tail lights, and like somehow everybody else like still manages to not just run into them. You know what I mean? Like I don't run into them because I have headlights. You know, and even though their tail lights are not lit, they're still reflective. You know, they're kind of reflect. Like I can still see. It hasn't really been an issue. The other day, some dude was driving around with no headlights or taillights just because he forgot to turn them on. So I flashed my lights at him, and he didn't know why I was doing that. And then he ended up getting behind me, so I turned my lights off and on real quick, and then he understood and turned his on. You know, I've even seen like CDL trucks driving down the road with no tail lights, which is interesting because we're supposed to do CDL drivers, you know, truck drivers, we're supposed to do pre-trips before we leave. And so if we're assuming that dude did his pre-trip, then that means that it broke after he started driving, you know. So, I mean, yeah, that happened this week. It's a box truck that I'm pretty sure is CDL required. It might not be. Some of those aren't, but you know, he's driving around with no tail lights. His headlights were working. There was 3 other semi trucks around, and like none of us managed to run into him. Like we all were able to somehow just not rear end him, even though he didn't have any lights. You know, it's crazy how that is. I don't know how we managed to do that, but we did somehow. We managed to not run into him, and you know, even though he didn't have any lights. So safety inspections just really don't do anything for us. Or, I mean, you know what they do is they earn money. You know, it's another tax. It's like, let's see what this is. The pit of what? So I wonder if this is one of those. It says story mission.
Hello, visitors. Welcome to the Holodome, a holographic projector dimension. My name is H010-TP, but you can call me Holotrap, and I will be your destructible guide through the simulation.
I think this is like you go in and you try to fight. You know, try to survive as long as you can.
I've already told it twice. I'm not...
Please! Death Trap really wants to hear it. We are his ancestors, you know.
All right. We had just gotten to the Helios space station to find it under attack.
Wait, is this gonna be a long story?
Yeah, just give us the bluffs notes.
The what?
You know, the short, important parts of those really long, obnoxious novels you read in school.
Yeah, the parts where you shot people, killed stuff,
And made robots.
and blew up Jack's favorite toy.
Fine.
There's a hollow button that starts the round, and then there's an invisible button that produces pastries. You'll have to figure out which one is which, but I bet you want the glowing one.
Oh,
I think
cool.
just the survival complete
Deadlift was
waves.
obsessed with jump pads. The only way we could beat him was to join him.
Yeah, jump pads just kind of came with the whole Holodome package.
Turn on jump pads. Okay. So there looks like there's minus some over here. Oh, it's down. What about this one? So anyways, there's just no point to have safety inspections. Well, they did turn ours off, at some point. How am I supposed to turn this thing on? Can't, do I shoot it? It's not giving me a way to turn it on. Do I turn this thing on? Is this like some sort of generator or something? Do I shoot that? No. I have to get electrocuted. Shoot it with electric. That didn't work either. I don't get it. Sometimes this game, I don't even remember this part. I don't know if this is DLC or what, because I bought this game. This is the way games work now. I bought this game on a disc, a while ago, and basically played through it. And then what happens is you have the PSN, whatever, PS Plus, right? And so you get free games. Well, this game was one of the free ones, and so that's what this version of it is. I'm not on the disc, I'm on the free one, and sometimes when you get these free games and stuff, they have the DLC comes with it, so that might be what this is. But I don't understand. How am I supposed to turn it on? Turn on jump pads. Complete circuits for 5. Like this jump pad's already on. What level is that guy? 26. So there is a jump pad over here. But I also can't. I don't see a switch. There's no buttons anywhere. I have to look this up.
What the hell?
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I don't know. Yeah. Basically, in a minute here, I'm just going to go to Lowe's. Probably going to turn this game off early. So I have a whole bunch of soccer stuff to do today with the kids' soccer. That's another level of complication into our lives, is that it's really hard to do soccer because there's 2 kids. We're basically going to be there for 4 or 5 hours today. And then still got to do all my other stuff. My 75 hard, I forgot to take a picture of myself yesterday. So I did everything else. But luckily, I have fail safes for the picture. If I miss the picture, it's not that big a deal because I have cameras on my house. So all I did was I just found one of the times that the cameras recorded me leaving the house yesterday, and I screenshotted it. So I have my quote unquote picture. I don't do the picture right anyways. You're supposed to do an update picture, right? Where you're standing in the mirror with your shirt off and not flexing your muscles. I don't even do that anymore. I'm just I give up. I've been doing this thing so long, I just like, I cannot anymore. I don't even know. I'm not starting it over though. It is what it is. So that's going to be my update picture for yesterday. I need to read early today so I don't forget, because there's a good possibility later that I'm going to be designing and starting to 3D print I'm going to print like these little like holder things for the airline. Basically, yeah, I just don't get it. Like, what am I doing wrong here? Like, that isn't hooked up. So shouldn't I be able to hook it up? Or, like, I don't understand. I guess it's not really superly hooked up there either. Do I have to shoot it like just right at the right time, or I don't get it. Can I like, oh wait, isn't there some way to like, there we go. Is that it? Yeah, there we go. You just gotta slam on it. Okay, completed one circuit. But it didn't say I turned on a jump pad. But I did turn on turn on jump pads. So if I turn all of them on, then it will give me credit. I see. I never use this slam thing, so, and I don't even think this is in the other games. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna go to Lowe's, get the stuff I need. You know, I'm gonna overpay for this bar. It's just the way it is. But the metal stores that are around me are so far away, you know, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but the one is a half an hour away, and the other one is 45 minutes away. So it is what it is. This is what I'm gonna do. I only need like a little bit of it. I only need under 2 inches of this bar. So I could go to the metal store and buy a 20-foot long length, which they do sell 10 foots, but I always know I'm going to use this stuff again in another project, so I just buy the 20-footer. Okay, but my trailer is 10 feet long. And what I do is I can run the material up the tongue of the trailer, which is about 15 feet long. And so what I end up with is 5 feet sticking off the back of the trailer, which isn't the best thing. And I'm going to put a receiver hitch on the front of my Suburban one day and build some racks for it so I can haul metal over the top of the Suburban that's 20 feet long a lot better than, you know, doing the red flag thing. Right. Anyways. Okay, so I got the jump pads done. So, you know, it's just a lot more big of a pain. I don't even know if they're open on Saturdays or what the deal is, you know, because this is kind of like an industrial type situation, not so much like I'm building a camp trailer in my garage type situation. I mean, it is. They will obviously sell to you, but anyways. So, but I'm just gonna go to Lowe's and either get some little like spacers. Like I know they have the hardware. All I need is a little spacer. I can cut it, you know, down to size because I don't know why the opening here is flame knuckle. Well, that's not gonna work with that gun. What about this one? Do you like rocket launchers? Or do you like breeze pistols? Ice against fire. If I could get the thing to freeze, which I probably can't, but oh, he came out. Flame knuckle. So I'm guessing the fire won't work on him because he's the flame guy. Alright. What'd that get me? Might just have to do this like holodome thing for a while until I get to level 29. I haven't even done the first round yet, looks like. So anyways, I'm going to go to Lowe's in a minute here. I'll probably end this early. Normally I go till like 9, but I probably won't. Because it's just going to be rebuilding those mounts. Getting the air cylinders in place, you know, so that I can lift the box and then lift the box with them. That's going to be, once that's done, I need to get that done like today. If that's done today, then I can set up some plastic. I need to get some more plastic from Lowe's too. Put some plastic around it to where I can spray the trailer in the garage. I was going to do this outside, but it's not, it's still, like it snowed yesterday. It's not, it's 30 degrees out there right now, so it's not good. It's not a good situation for that still. I mean, it should be warm. Let's see what it's going to be today. It's going to be, so we're doing soccer. The high is 54. It's supposed to warm up all week, though, it looks like. Get a little bit warmer, 40s and 40 to 70, 50 to 70, which would be nice. But basically, where I sit right now is, I don't want to put it outside and paint it because this paint doesn't dry like super fast. It's not really great for that. It's like, how do I even get up there? How do I get that guy to come down here? And, I don't want it to rain on the paint and mess it up or something, so I'm going to set up, I might set up like a room to paint the thing in, basically just get some plastic and tape it around so I can, and then get the sprayer out and spray it, because I think it'll be a little easier than trying to roll it. Or I might not. The kids want to help me paint it, and so maybe I'll just have them go on the inside and paint the inside. I don't know, or we'll just roll the outside anyways. Just say screw it and give them paintbrushes. So I guess I should make a list. So what do I need? I need the bar or bushing. So let's see, bushing or round bar, and then paintbrushes, or maybe like mineral spirits to clean the paintbrushes, because I've just been using them. And bolts, carriage bolts, and I got these black ones, so it's gonna be like a gray and black kind of paint scheme, and then the truck's kind of white and black, so it is what it is. Let's see, what else did I need to get from there? I think that's the main things. I have 3 rollers. Oh, plastic. Maybe more plastic to put down. Like drop cloth plastic. Maybe liners for the paint thing. And, what else? I think that's it. It would probably be better to spray it. And if I start building them, I'm going to spray them. I'll just use the paint sprayer rather than a roller or a brush or something, because it's just a pain. It's like much easier to just spray it. With the sprayer, it's a lot more work to kind of prepare the thing, Is this dude still above me? Or did he go down? I thought there was a guy on this platform. Did he fall down when I came up here? So it looks like that thing says he's down there. He must have gone down there.
Shield energized.
Or something, I don't know. Anyways. So the cold home. So it would be better to spray it. There wouldn't be any brush Although I don't think there really was any brush strokes, but there was drips. And you know, that's also part of the deal is I'm gonna have to learn how to paint, I guess, if I'm gonna do this, or get somebody to paint them or powder coat them or something. I don't know what that would entail or what that would be, but I'm on a new round, you know. Nice.
Did anyone see that?
All right. Yeah, this is going a lot better. I bet you I could level up in here a lot better than not. I've actually played it and stopped talking. So there he is. Look, there's a guy over there, but I can't see him.
Raising shield.
Okay, there's a guy over here somewhere. Okay. But once kind of the paint is done, I can just start, you know, doing the final install on a lot of this stuff. The axle, I'll locate and install the axle probably tomorrow. So I'll get the brackets painted today. They should be dry by tomorrow, and then I can do the final install on the axle. And once that's installed, then I can do the final install on the front, the tongue jack. Right, because right now I don't know what height to put it at. I want to get the most out of the stroke, right? So what I want is when the jack is completely bottomed out, I want to be at the very bottom, you know, the drop height, if you will. When the bags are completely dumped, the thing is as low as it will go. That's what I want the tongue jack's height to be set at. So then I get the most out of the lift. You know, any lift that I get out of it, I'll get the most out of. Which I'm not going to get a lot. I'm only going to get 9 inches anyway, so I don't even know if that part is going to work in that regard, you know, because of that. Because it's kind of like, is 9 inches going to be enough to lift the, you know, the ball off the truck at those heights? I mean, you know, and I might have to get like a drop hitch for the truck or something. Which I think I have one. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if this is a 2-inch ball. If it's an inch and 7/8, I might not have a drop hitch. Because I think my drop hitch does 2 and 2 and 5/16. It has 2 on it that you can switch around or whatever. What is going on over here? Well, how come it's all energized? Like, why are those guys just hanging out in electricity fields and not dying? You know what I mean? What gives, B? There's a lot of guys over here. This could be bad. Could be bad, but they are low level compared to me. Killed a couple of them there. Your nose. Alright, well, it's a lot of guys, but they aren't very powerful. How come this is the way it is, though? How do I fix this problem? Or do I just not, I guess? Okay, there's a guy over here.
Raising shield.
This gun just doesn't shoot very fast. Alright, let me shoot him here. Are these guys out? Are they down there? Yeah.
You cannot harm me.
Looks like I survived 2 rounds. So I'm on round 3 now. But yeah, it's like the kids want to help paint, so I guess I can't spray it because I told them they could help me. So what I'll do is I'll just have them help either paint the inside, like they could get in on the inside, or we'll just all have them help paint the front frame. You know, maybe the bottom box. I don't know. Give them a paintbrush and some gloves. I guess I better get some little gloves too, because this stuff is not like good. When it gets on your hands, it doesn't really come off for days and days. Like I still have stuff on my hands from the first time I painted, which I don't know, maybe it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. We went on a bike ride Sunday and came back and painted, which I'm going to have to do again tomorrow. So, you know, tomorrow will be kind of the same thing. So if the goal for today is to get the box to lift itself. If I could do that, then what I should be able to do is paint the inside of the box, right? Maybe today, after I get it to lift itself. And then put all that together, kind of finish off. Some of the levers are too long. They're like, I've just basically left them long past the attachment points, so I can cut them off short. One of the bars bends pretty good, you know, under tension, which is actually maybe not. I don't know. I think when the box is down, it bends. So I don't know if I should like try to reinforce them, or, you know, this was somewhat just like kind of like a prototype. I don't think it's gonna break or anything. Like I think it's all right, but maybe I should find a way to sort of build it up. I don't know, but you know, that stuff, it will all be easily replaceable later. So it's not that big. It's like, you know, you just take the bolts out or whatever. How do I turn these things off, I wonder? You guys all insist on hanging out up here. Can't just come down there and fight. I have to jump back up here to get you. Well, I got that one with the shield. Yeah, if I just do this probably 2 or 3 times, I'll level up.
Defensive posture.
Although this fucking gun sucks. We got a lot of moonstone here too. Bet you I could get a whole bunch of moonstone. Maybe I could get all of my storage upgraded if I just hang out in here. Cairo principle. So how does that stuff not electrocute those guys? How does that make any sense? Come on, how am I missing that one? Joseph principle. Need more ammo for that gun. I think I need to switch this gun. I don't like it. Could do that one. Wonder how this one is. It's got high damage. It's alright. There's no elemental damage, but oh good, there's one of those. That means that there's one of those other things around here somewhere.
Defensive stance.
These things remind me, they make me think of like the aliens on, what's that show? Signs? The Signs? Because they kind of like click. Yeah, one of these Opa things. Can you like fly Opa or?
Bring it!
Like launches babies out of its situation there. Reload is it's not good here. Another one of those.
Job. Return to me and I'll have the next simulation primed and ready.
Got quite a bit of experience out of that, so.
Do you like my new chassis? I designed it myself. According to my calculations, you are missing out on some sweet-ass holographic action.
Yeah, I don't know. if I can get the box to lift today, then tomorrow I can go back to painting. And then all week this week, if we can get a lot of paint on it tomorrow, I guess I would need to get the suspension done before I can completely finish painting. Let's see. So basically, before I can finish painting, I need to put the vents.
From inside the arena. There's a hollow button. You need to do.
So the vents in the top box, there's going to be vents in it. And then I need to put those in. Which, I mean, I guess I don't have to, because I got these vents, and they're like, what are they? They're soffit vents. But all I'm going to do is just use the outside skin. I'm just going to drill some holes in the box and then use the outside skin, and then it has like a mesh on it to kind of keep any bugs out of there. But I guess I need to get a tighter mesh for it too. But what I was going to do is just drill some holes in the box and then just kind of screw the mesh to the box and then kind of caulk it. And it's just going to be an open vent in the box. It's not going to be, the box isn't going to be completely closed off, but it does have like louvers in it. So it should keep water out, I would think, pretty well. But as far as light in there, there's no window, and I wanted to put a window or like an RV vent in the top of it, but the problem is I'm going to put solar panels on the top, and so this is going to be an afterthought for sure. So what I'm going to do probably is just put these vents in for now, and so I was going to cut a hole and stick them in, but now what I'm going to do is just drill holes. So I could paint it before I drill those holes. That should be all right. I need to weld on the front jack mount thing, the swivel thing, before I, paint the front, obviously. So that needs to happen. But before that can happen, I need to be able to drop it on its suspension so I know what the bottom height is. Like, I have a pretty good idea what the bottom height is, but I want to know 100% so I get the most lift out of my tongue jack, because I'm not going to be able to do it's going to be harder to put like a block of wood under it or something. You know what I mean? Because like it needs to drop down to that level. If I have a drop hitch on the truck, that would help. But anyway, so that's all got to get figured out basically. So that's kind of the steps. I need to get it back on its suspension. Need to get it dropped, then I can weld that on. I'm going to have to cut the stabilizers, so those are going to all have to come off and get cut and then get put back on shorter. And then I'm just, paint and install everything. So really the big things are lifting the box, redesigning the bearing system for the box. Then all this other stuff is just installation and paint, which really isn't hard. It's just a grind. You just start bolting everything on, plumbing everything up, wiring everything, right? So anyways, I'm going to end this stream here, though. I'm going to keep playing this game off stream. I haven't done that with this game save at all. But all I'm going to do is just do these holodeck missions, which is just like go and, level up. So maybe, or maybe I won't. I don't know.